It's Power 105.1, Angie Martinez. I have Joe Tacopina, who's Meek Mill's attorney, on the phone with us.
Hey, Angie, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for calling. I have so many questions, and I'm so concerned, as a lot of people are. How is Meek doing, first of all?
He's doing okay, knowing that this grave miscarriage of justice is going to be straightened out. I mean, he's just about had his fill, particularly with this judge. I mean, she's had him under her thumb for 10 years. Meek made a mistake when he was a teenager. He admitted that. It's back in 2008. He had a case. He pled guilty to it. He did whatever time he did, and he was on probation, which was supposed to be for 5 years, which should have ended in 2013. But, this judge keeps extending it for technical violations, and here we are almost 5 years later, and he's still on probation. I mean, no one's on probation for this long. But, what happened in the courtroom yesterday really was just the climax of inappropriate conduct by a judge. And it's at the point now where we will take drastic action. We will seek every angle of attack that we can seek. We will seek pardon from the governor. We'll seek the appeals process, obviously, in the legal system. But when you have a judge who's so crossed the line of professionalism and what a judge should be doing, and fundamental fairness is out the window here.
I know that I've read that you believe this is like a personal vendetta, like they're from the same area of Philly and have mutual acquaintances and.
Yeah, it's not just that. I mean, look, being from the same area doesn't make it a personal vendetta. What makes it a personal vendetta is doing things that are inappropriate, like asking Meek to leave Rock Nation, which is the premier, Jay's company, is one of the premier management companies in the world.
What is the thinking with that? Why would she do that?
Well, because she asked him to go to another local manager in Philly who she happens to have a relationship with. I mean, that really, really shows you that a line's been crossed, that she's not being impartial and she's not looking at this as just another defendant, but she's taking this personal. When a judge asks Meek or anybody, but in this instance it was Meek and Nicki Minaj in chambers, in the back, the judge's chambers, court, asked Meek to re-record the Philadelphia group Boys to Men, their legendary song "On My Bending Knees," and asked Meek to re-record it with a shout out to the judge, where he would acknowledge her by name in the song, and Meek and Nicki started laughing. They thought it was a joke and she was being funny, and she looked at Meek and said, "I'm not kidding."
Wow.
And Meek said, "Well, I can't do that. I don't. That's not my music. Number one, I don't do that. But I'm not going to do shout outs and songs." And her response was, "Suit yourself." And by the way, he didn't do it. And does that have anything to do with the fact that she sentenced him yesterday to a sentence that, by all accounts, is unconscionable? Okay, what judge would ask someone to record a song and throw a shout out to them? That's not a judge. I mean, that's someone who has a personal interest in an individual.
Is there anything you can do? I don't know this process. This is your lane, but there's nothing you can do to change judges if there's a sense of misconduct. You can.
No, Angie, it's a good question. It's a recusal motion, and it's look, we were hoping that this would never come to this point. We were hoping that this judge would just look. Meek's been under her thumb for 10 years. He's not had any major violations. As a matter of fact, last year there was a hearing where the chief probation officer, the supervising probation officer in Meek's case, someone who was very intimate with the case, a guy named Christopher McMillan, testified that he didn't believe Meek was committing violations of probation. The judge actually, on the record, found that his testimony was incredible. Incredible. That's a chief supervising probation officer, not a witness for the defense.
Wow.
And when that happens, and then all of a sudden he's not on the case anymore. Yesterday there was a full onslaught attack of the probation officer there by the judge because the probation officer didn't recommend that Meek not get jail time.
Right.
Listen to what happened yesterday, Angie. If you want to look, this is not me posturing as a lawyer. I'm going to give you a cold, hard fact that's going to make it very clear what happened yesterday was beyond the pale and a real travesty of justice. The prosecuting attorney, the district attorney, and the probation officer both recommended yesterday that Meek get no jail time for these technical violations. They were technical violations. Don't forget, there's two cases that he had.
They both got thrown out. Yeah, they were dismissed. Right.
My case in New York, St. Louis case dismissed. So both this prosecutor, who's no friend to Meek Mill, and the probation officer said no, there was no recommendation for jail time on this. Well, she disregarded both of them, almost attacked their credibility, and gave them 2 to 4 years. I've been a prosecutor. I've been a defense lawyer. I've been in this business for a long time. Okay, about 27 years. I've never once in my life seen that happen.
Wow.
In any courtroom. Where you have a judge overriding both a district attorney and probation officer to do what you did. So you do the math. You can figure it out yourself. I mean, what's happening here between the song request, between the changing managers, it's almost an infatuation with Meek. But whatever it is, it's something that is now getting to the point where justice is being perverted, and we're going to make sure that this gets fixed. He will be okay. I promise you. I promise your listeners. He's going to be good. He's going to be okay. He's a good kid. He's done. Look, he's really done something special with his life and with his career.
It's funny because I was just told he was here not that long ago. He came to see me, and we were talking about. I noticed that he had said to the judge that he had been struggling with an addiction to Percocet, and the last time he was here, he actually shared that, and he seemed like he was in such a much better place and in a positive place.
Yep.
And that's why I was really shocked to hear that this happened. So what is the likeliness of this happening? So you appeal the judge and appeal the case. The
appeal is one whole thing. We have to apply to the judge for reconsideration, which
Got it.
No one's waiting on that one.
Yeah.
But then after that, we'll go through the appellate process in Pennsylvania through the state system. You go through the appellate process. In the meantime, we are also appealing to the powers to be in the state of Pennsylvania, the governor's office for intervention here. You can't have a judge who's clearly crossed the lines of judicial conduct, appropriate judicial conduct, be handing down sentences that are disparate, that are inappropriate by all accounts.
What was her reasoning when she handed down the sentence?
I mean, she cited things that were almost laughable, like, he didn't get, when he went to get treatment, by the way, for his addiction, okay, he sought treatment, he went to Atlanta to get treatment. She actually cited as a reason for one of the violations is that he didn't get permission to get treatment in Atlanta, and he went there without her permission. And then the defense yesterday produced an email that showed that the request was made to the judge that he go to Atlanta to get permission. She was emailed, and the district attorney was CC'd on it. She then claimed, she didn't remember that. She never got that email, even though she approved it. Well, then she looked at the district attorney and said, did I ever get this email? The district attorney said, yes, you did, Your Honor. And she said, no, I didn't. You're wrong. You're both wrong. And I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happened yesterday. I mean, she's actually citing as violations things that she's approved. Citing the two cases as violations of probation. And while they may be technical violations of probation, because an arrest does constitute a violation of probation, we have to look to the facts. And both of those cases were dismissed. And when they're dismissed, to then put someone in jail for 2 to 4 years, I mean, it's he's been it's not been like he's been treated like a regular probationer. I mean, his former supervisor, again, Christopher McMillan, last year testified that the grueling nature of Meek's probation, which required him to check in as if he were, a sex offender, having to report every time he moved near a school or something. I mean, the restrictions on him were grave and intense, and he did very, very well to comply. Okay, and he's not looking for a badge of honor or a medal, but he just wants to be treated fairly. And you know what? If his name was John Smith, first of all, he wouldn't have even been arrested to begin with in these other cases. And secondly, and most importantly, he certainly, if he was an anonymous defendant and he had a minor violation like this, the hearing would have lasted 5 minutes. He would have been back on probation and going along on his merry way. That's a fact.
Yeah. What was the reaction in the courtroom when the sentence came in?
Astonishment. I mean, astonishment by all involved. I mean, Jay-Z was very, very, shocked is not the word, but wrote a letter, or a real strong letter in support. We also had people there like Mike Rubin. Mike Rubin's one of the most important people in Philadelphia. Done a lot for the community. Is one of the owners of the Philadelphia 76ers.
He was there?
He was. Yeah. He was there, and he was.
Jay was there too?
No. Jay wrote a letter. Jay wrote a letter to the court, and then spoke out yesterday afterwards. So you have members of the community, prominent members of that community, who have seen what Meek has given to that community, show their outrage. So that's the sort of support he has going right now.
And then, so did he have to turn himself right in?
Right away. This wasn't an optional thing. Yeah.
That's it.
Right in. Pay to complete. You want to talk about a sign? When the hearing began and Meek walked in, there were 5 sheriff's deputies in the courtroom. And the back door to where the holding cell, the prison, leads to was open. That's before the hearing started. So
there was a decision made before.
The writing was on the wall. Yeah.
That's awful. So I guess you're hopeful, right, about this appeal?
I'm very hopeful. I mean, look, there's such an outrage in the community.
What kind of time do you think it takes for an appeal like this to go through?
We're expediting everything. the lawyers in Philly are working right now on that. So everything is being done very quickly. Brian Magale is doing everything he can to get that pushed forward in Philadelphia. So that we're going forward, but it's not just the appeal. It's the appeal. It's the application to the governor's office for relief. It's a full court press. And, he's got some good people behind him. He's got the support of you and your listeners and members of the community who really are outraged. Because, look, sometimes we make mistakes. And when we make mistakes, we have to deal with the consequences of our mistakes. And it's hard to get outraged about that. But when you're being clearly handled and treated in a way that is so unjust, that really makes you really viscerally upset with the way the justice system is handling things, then you know that there's a problem.
This has seemed like a problem from the beginning. Even when I had heard the first violation with the paperwork, and he got an extra, was it 5 years of probation? Was that what it was? It was like extra.
Yeah, well, he's been on probation. His probation was supposed to end in 2013, and here he is, almost 2018. He's still on probation. So
if
seems
this
to be a never-ending process.
After this happens, so if this appeal goes through, then he gets out. It still would take time, right? He's not getting out anytime soon. I mean, he has to sit there while this whole.
Oh no, we're going to apply for emergency relief, a stay of his sentence. They're going to pull, as I said, Brian and his team are going to pull out every stop possible to get this going right away and get him out as quickly as possible. I mean, we don't intend on having him stay there for the appeal process to run its course. That could take a year. Okay,
and then let's say this all gets cleared up. What is his status then? Is he still going to be on? Is this probation does that extend for like?
Well, that's all to be determined. I mean, we would apply for this probation to be terminated. I mean, again, we're 5 years past the day it was supposed to be terminated. And look. If someone's under the microscope 24/7 every single day, and Meek travels to concerts and all these things, and if he didn't report in time, or his manager didn't send in the right schedule in time, and that's a technical violation. But who are we kidding? What is he doing to hurt society at that point? I mean, he does a lot for society. He does a lot for the community. He does a lot of charity work. He does things. There's free concerts. I mean, let's not pick on guys who are actually trying to be productive, trying to make themselves better, trying to give back a little bit. Okay, he's not out there committing crimes. He's out there doing good. And look, he's responsible for whatever his wrong actions were. He's accepted that responsibility. But now he's being treated in a way that's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that he was arrested in New York for doing a wheelie on his bike, just shows you. I mean, and 22 cop cars arrived to arrest him. When he was doing a charity basketball event for kids, where the kids came out with him and he was signing autographs, and the cops pulled him out of that crowd of kids and locked him up in front of these kids for doing a wheelie on his bike.
Right.
I mean, we all live in New York. You see guys on bikes, doing wheelies every now and then. How many of those people have ever gotten arrested? And the fact is, when he was doing a wheelie with no one else around, by the way, endangering nobody, there were 7 other people doing wheelies also, but none of them got arrested.
Right.
Only Meek. So it's we don't have to be rocket scientists or lawyers to figure out what's going on here.
Thank you for all the work you're doing. And please just send them our love and keep us posted on anything you can. And if there's anything we can do in terms of using our voices on this end, please feel free to reach out.
Yeah, no, Angie, you guys have a great voice. Your audience is a strong voice. I mean, your social media presence is important. So, just keeping this aware and keeping this out there is the most important thing we could do right now.
All right, and please definitely send him our love and prayers.
I will do that.